In this video, I'm going to show you how to make vaginal suppositories, DIY style, in your home kitchen. So I'm coming to you from my home kitchen, and the example suppository that I'm going to show you all how to make today is going to be a calendula, coconut oil, and cocoa butter formula. Kind of simple, but really powerful. There's lots of applications for using vaginal suppositories, so it's a great skill to have. And certainly, no matter what kind of vaginal issue you're dealing with, it's always going to be important to look at it from a holistic perspective, whether it's shifting your diet, adding more nutrition, looking at the balance of good and bad bacteria. All those things are certainly important. And you're also going to want to go to the localized area and deal with those inflamed tissues. So suppository is a great way to really heal and restore mucous membranes. So that is really important, especially if those mucous membranes have been through a lot, and that could be years or months of infection. That could have been a surgical incision or tearing during childbirth. Another really great way to apply a vaginal suppository, or a great use for it, is if you've gotten an irregular PAP or you're working with HPV. The suppository can help you deliver medicine right there to the cervix. So let's get into some of the how-to and supplies that you'll need for this. So you'll want your chosen herb or herbs. And like I said, today we're using calendula, a really versatile herb. It's great for encouraging cell mitosis, so that's why you see it in a lot of salves for cuts and scrapes. It encourages healing of the skin. And it also is wonderful for dry, itchy skin conditions. So that can be a concern for the vaginal skin as well. Coconut oil has so many healing benefits. One big reason that I'm using it in this formula is its antifungal properties. There's been recent research from Tufts University that has given more definitive clarity around just how powerful coconut oil is against fungus, and in particular Candida albicans. And then cocoa butter. So cocoa butter acts as kind of like our solid. If you've ever made lip balm, this is a lot like making lip balm. And when you add your beeswax in, that helps it solidify. And for the vaginal suppository, that's what the cocoa butter is helping to do, in addition to all its own healing properties, which it has many fatty acids. It's really nutrient rich. So it adds a lot of suppleness and repairs and restores the mucous membranes. So that's our simple combination. And then also you'll want to get some suppository molds. Now there's a couple of ways that you can get molds or design them, which I'm going to show you how. One is you can get these. They're easy to find on the internet. Comes in packages of very many. And another is using ice cube trays. So these are really small ice cubes, so that's nice. Of course, you can find ice cube trays of all different shapes and sizes now. If you have ones that are really large, you can also just slice them up after they become solid to create the size and shape that you want your suppository to be. Another really cool trick that I'm going to show you is to get a kitchen spoon, the end of a kitchen wooden spoon. Now this is a little bit skinny, but it's going to work. And then you get some aluminum foil, and you want to leave a little bit of a gap at the top where you fold it over. I like to roll it about 1.5 times around the spoon. Cut it with some scissors, and then put a piece of Scotch tape on there about halfway up. And then you carefully slide it off the edge of the spoon. Oh, I missed a step. So the thing that you want to do before that, ooh, it went on smoothly, is to seal it up. So you want to close down the bottom, and then you pull it off, and you've got your mold. And the trick here now is to have them be upright. So I've gotten a little bit creative, and I've got a dish with dry black beans to hold these suppositories up while I pour into them. So if you don't have someone there to hold it, that's another way. While you're pouring, you could do something like that. And that's also going to be important when I put them in the freezer so that they can, not pour out before they solidify. Okay, so did I mention you also want a funnel and a strainer and a double burner setup. So this is a makeshift double burner. I've used a stock pot with some water in it and a measuring cup that hooks in on the side. And in there is my cocoa butter and coconut oil infused with calendula. So if you're using some heat, you want to be sure that it's low heat so you don't overcook your herb. Calendula in particular is a little bit delicate, so I kept it at about 90 to 95 degrees and ran that for about 4 hours. If you have more time, you can also do a solar infusion, which involves combining the herbs with your oil and letting it sit for about 6 weeks before you strain it. Okay, so let's pour in our infusion. Now, if this is warm enough to be liquid, that's going to pour well, but you also don't want it to be too hot to sit in that aluminum foil when it's at too high of a temperature, as well as with the plastics. So let it cool down a fair amount. And it doesn't take much oil to fill up one of these little suppository molds. All right. So that's an example. And then I would fill the rest of them. It's probably a good idea to do about 7 to 14 each round that you take time to make your infusion. There's lots of other herbs that you can use, and there's our reference page, an herb list for different options. So check that out and consider what you're dealing with and make your own formula. I'm going to put this in the freezer. Hope you enjoyed this video.